The interesting part was how the British really ruled in India. They basically brought about little frictions among small little groups, so they fought among themselves, so they could be powerful. So that's basically how they remained in power for so long, by weakening different kingdoms around and playing one versus the other and so on and so forth. So it was rather interesting those days, but they did the job rather well.
And then now?
Well, now of course the change has been, Indians are grappling with politics today. And I think it's going to evolve. It's evolving and it will evolve. I think the situation is slowly coming up to a point where people are getting fed up with corruption, fed up with the kind of quality of politicians we have. So I think we are going to see a change now, a change that will seep into politics now, where people are going to demand better politicians, better quality of life, and I think that's sooner or later going to happen. And I think we're all very confident and very hopeful that it will happen.
At that time, you used to have rulers who put their sons and daughters in their place. Is it like that now? You have this succeeding
sure,
line?
That still remains. The family line or lineage still remains. It remains in politics, it remains in business. It's a very Asian trait, I'd say. It's a very Asian trait. You come across the same thing if you go to Hong Kong or Singapore, Malaysia, China, Japan. The same lineage always works. And I think even right across the Middle East, you have the same lineage kind of rule. Well, in many parts of Europe, you had kings who passed on to their sons or daughters and so on and so forth. So the same trend continues here. Unlike the American system where lineage didn't play such a large role, but of course it did in places like Kennedy's family and so on. I think lineage does work. I mean, sons and daughters normally get part of what the parents have worked for. It puts them in a position where it's easy to get into whatever the parents are doing, whether it was politics or industry or whatever they did. So it kind of gave them openings.
As for the terrorists in Mumbai, has it affected your everyday life, your daily life?
It definitely does affect people's lives, because it's just like you have 9/11. I think it was a very serious issue that really took place. Not just political, but I think it was something that was psychologically, I'd say, negative in the minds of lots of people. Trust becomes the biggest issue here. When something of that kind happens, then you lose trust in a certain section of people, and you wonder whether you can really trust them or not. So I think it has hurt a section of people, because a lot of people don't want to do business with you. They don't want to. Just like the rest of the world. Once you lose trust, then you lose everything else that goes with it. And it takes a very long time for people to build trust, to build credibility. And I think that's the sad part that happened in Mumbai. I think a section of people might have created a lot of terror there, but at the same time, a huge amount of trust has been lost in a section.
And wasn't it their aim to do that?
Well, I think their aim was to create a problem. But I don't think they realize that they have broken the golden rule of breaking trust. I think breaking trust is something beyond. It's sometimes irreparable, Sometimes it takes a long time to heal and repair, but I think trust is very, very important. And I think that's sadly, I'd say that's the biggest thing that Mumbai has really created in the minds of people.
Do you stand together? I remember London saying, London stands united. Have you got something like this here too, that you want to unite more after this? Or?
Definitely. I mean, this is terrorism in any part of the world is an act that's absolutely evil. It's evil because people lose faith in the system. There is unnecessary instability that you bring into a system. When you have wheels of an engine that are moving smoothly and suddenly you drop a couple of pebbles in, then it causes some kind of friction there which creates an instability in the system. So I think what London is trying to do, or what Washington is trying to do, or what New Delhi is trying to do, and trying to eradicate and remove terrorism is a great thing. And I think the world is getting polarized in that direction. They want to make sure that there is no terrorism in the world. So I think from that point of view, I think that's a good thing. The world is coming together. So you really don't have 2 worlds or 3 worlds now, but you have a world that is anti-terrorism, and you have a small section that's trying to create terrorism. So and I think the anti-terrorism part of the globe is only becoming larger.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Is it who?
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think we were talking about women in India.
Yeah.
And it's important to separate the social problems within the country from the fabric, or the social fabric of India. And I think those two are very important points here. And like I was saying, I was just explaining to a few people about glass ceilings in India. India has never had a glass ceiling when it's come to women. Women have been on the top from, say, for centuries. Even in the recent past, we've had Indira Gandhi, who is the Prime Minister of India. We've had Poolan Devi, who was India's biggest and most feared dacoit or bandit. You've also had some extremely brave warrior soldiers like Rani of Jhansi, who was an incredible warrior. So you've had women in all aspects of society in India leading the nation. So, of course, a case like Poolan Devi in some of the worst known roles, but Rani of Jhansi or Indira Gandhi and so on and so forth in some very leading roles in the country.
Can you tell me about Poolan Devi?
Poolan Devi.
Yeah,
Poolan Devi was actually a dacoit, also known as a bandit. And so she was she was very feared in a very large section of, I think she was in Rajasthan or Gujarat, some parts of that area. I'm not sure exactly where she comes from, could be UP too, but basically she made her name as a very feared dacoit or a bandit. So she was an extremely dangerous person to deal with, and people feared her. So you've had a number of people in India with lead roles. The point I'm really trying to make is that women have had lead roles in India, and if you're a woman, it doesn't mean that you can't come up. India is a place that will encourage you to come up provided you have leadership qualities. Anybody in this country who has leadership qualities can come up. Sonia Gandhi is a woman and she's not even Indian, but people are willing to rally behind her because she's got some leadership qualities. So India is a country that's willing to go with anybody who's got leadership qualities. So that's the nice, interesting thing about India. You can be a man, you can be a woman, you can be from any part of the world. If you're interested in leading India, sure, you can rally people support behind you. You can become another Mahatma Gandhi. I mean, it's just qualities that India really looks for, and I think that's a nice
it
thing
doesn't
here.
matter if it's a woman or a man.
Yeah, it really doesn't matter
You
here.
don't